Welcome to the Hawk Podcast. Right now, we have a very special guest. His name is Cheyenne. I've known Cheyenne for a good amount of time. Cheyenne is a fellow business owner, and although he doesn't look like he's 20 years old, he is 20 years old. So tell us about the businesses you have and the amount of success that you've been seeing, because you're not a flexer, obviously, but you very well can be.
Flexing is you have to be humble about what you have because you can lose it at any time in your whole life, right?
For sure.
So I own a software company. We resell software to casinos. That's one of the biggest things I have. I do like franchises and stuff like that. I own like two franchises at the moment. It's like a local franchise in Dallas. They sell pizza and everything. They sell pizza and hookah. And yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm trying to learn how to forex trade. I did stocks for a little bit at a point in my life.
How did the stocks go?
Stocks, I was very stupid at that time. I was using my mom's account, and I made about $20,000 in a matter of 6 months. Right, 16 years old. $20,000 at 16 years old. It's like you're so happy about it.
Yeah.
But I bought a BMW at that time. That is my daily driver at the moment. I have like 200,000 miles on that car. I bought it with 45,000 miles. I bought it like 4 years ago, man. I put a lot of miles on that car. That car broke down, and it was 15 grand. I spent that 15 grand, and then I spent the other $5,000 on going and hanging out with my friends and other than so I lost. You have to have your downfalls multiple times,
Yeah.
right? You truly realize, okay, is this the life I want to go forward with or not? This is my opinion.
Brother, I have friends who have gone bankrupt multiple times. I have a friend who's in debt a few million dollars right now. Um, And it's funny how they deal with, because they laugh about it, because you're supposed to go in debt in your life at least two or three times. Don't quote me on that, but it's very normal to go in debt, to go bankrupt rather, not even go in debt. Um, and a lot of companies go through it. Now you have your own software company that sells to consumers. You want to tell us more about that?
We buy software from developers in China. Casinos cannot directly buy software from developers because there's only 30 people in the world that are allowed to create, that are allowed to develop slot machine software. It's a very niche industry. 30 developers. Casinos cannot directly buy from them because there's something called NGA, Nevada Gambling Association. They come check these softwares to make sure that the casinos have not talked to developers and rigged them to their favors. That's where 800 companies in the world that are allowed to have the licensing, like I'm one of those 800 companies. That's where I come in, buy the software from developers, and then give it to NGA so they can make sure the firewalls, the security on it is good. It hasn't been rigged, and then we resell it to casinos.
Okay. Being the middleman is so fucking powerful. It's insane. It's literally
You
insane.
can you can charge whatever money you want. I'm the one that is in control. There's software, and let me tell you this. There's software, the cheapest software we sell, $100,000. The most expensive, $4.3 million.
Jesus. Is that based on games, or I know you said you can't talk too much about it. Is that based on games or
Based
what?
It's based on the quality of the machine they have. Because there's some that minimum bet is 100, $200,000. It all it all depends on, yeah. Those require way more security, way more firewalls. Like there's a lot more that goes into this. I can't talk about it.
Okay. So you at 20 years old, you're doing this. There's the most almost every single 20-year-old that I know is in their fucking room picking their nose, doing absolutely nothing with their life. So I need to know what inspires you, what inspires Cheyenne, and how the fuck does a 20-year-old achieve what you'd achieve?
So I'll tell you a little bit of a backstory of who my family is and where I come from. I'm from Iran,
Okay.
and my dad
Of
is really
course.
wealthy. My dad is my dad is really wealthy in Iran and in Europe. My dad my dad has about 10 manufacturing plants for car parts. He makes brakes, brake discs, ball bearings, high pressure fuel pump, like different stuff like that. His company is called NTN SNR. You can go search it up. And there's one that I'm very sentimental about stuff.
Yeah.
This is called Lizarette. This is his other company.
Okay. That's dope. Okay.
So when I was about, I was very like, I didn't know how life really was. I, I didn't know what life really was till I was maybe like 11, 12 years old, right? But by the time I found out how comfortable we were living back in Iran and back where everywhere we were traveling in the world, I didn't know how comfortable we were. And then when I turned 12 years old, my parents divorced. They separated from each other.
Okay.
And when that happens in Iran, when someone has money in a corrupt country, they can pay off the judge to make the woman even give her money out to the man. That's what
Okay.
my dad did. Don't get me wrong, I love my dad. I love my dad. I just don't agree with his ideology and how he perceives stuff. He's a very smart businessman, extremely smart businessman. But just family didn't come first for him. And that happens to a lot of people. A lot of businessmen, they just don't know how to balance when it comes to that point in their life, how to balance family and how to balance work. Then we came to the US at that point, after my parents' divorce. When we came here, my mom had to forfeit her money to my dad. So we came here with literally nothing. We lived with my uncle for about a year, 2 years, till my mom was working, and she got a little bit of money, and then she rented out this condo in a very bad side of town. So this goes up to when I became 16 years old. So let me tell you this. Back in eighth grade, when you come from the Middle East, education is really important to your parents.
Of course.
Doesn't matter. You have to be educated. You have to know, you have to have intelligence. I came over here and we came to DFW and I went to a high school called Health Science Academy. It's just like IB World School, International Baccalaureate. They go like if you do it properly, it can lead up to Ivy League universities. It's hard to get into it because they only accept 180 students per year, and there's thousands of students that apply around the United States to get to the school. I went over there and I was studying my ass off. So I learned from even back from Iran, when you dedicate yourself to something, just go through with it. Doesn't matter the hardship, doesn't matter none of that. Like just go through with it.
Yeah.
Put yourself aside. Comfort, it brings you joy, but it can hold you back from a lot of stuff in your life.
Absolutely.
So I was studying my ass off. And when I turned 16 years old, I was like, maybe there's a possibility in this world. This world isn't all about studying. This
Okay.
world, this world, instead of just studying, it's about learning different skills. So I was like, okay. At that time, I was working at a French fast food kind of restaurant ish. And I was saving every penny I was getting. Even though it was hard for my mom, I told my mom I was saving every penny. And I learned how to trade stocks. So I was saving my money and at that time, I was getting paid $9 an hour and I was still working overtime. And I saved up to $20,000. I was so happy. This is besides the fact that I made 20 grand off of doing stocks after tax for a whole year, for like 6 months. And then after that, it got to my head a little bit. I learned you shouldn't be greedy when it comes to stocks, and
Or
you shouldn't
anything.
let your ego take over. You learned it the hard way sometimes. I started working for one of my buddies for 6 months. The guy who introduced me to this industry. He is one of my best friends to this day. He is a 29-year-old kid, one of the most successful 29-year-olds I know. He's worth over $500 million right now. He's the number one manufacturer for slot machines in the world.
For the actual machines themselves, you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
He manufactures the actual machines himself. He came here at age 18 years old and he started working in that industry for someone else, right? And this someone else was a 60 something year old dude, saw potential in him, and was like, if you run my company, I'll give you 50% of my yearly profits, just run my entire company. And he agreed to that, right? He was doing college, he was working at 7-Eleven, and at the same time, he was working for this man for free for a whole year. And at the same time, he came by himself. There is no family members that came with him. It It was only him. Like I looked at him, I was like, dude, you're 29 years old, worth $500 million. I know it's not just. There's no way it's just luck.
No,
That's when
no.
it.
It's
I was
it's
like,
never about luck. So I've noticed, especially in the businesses that I've built, um, you can't go cut grass and expect to become a millionaire one day. It's really where you're going. And the number one thing is technology. Technology is fast moving. So find an industry that's moving really quick, hold on to it because there's going to be competition. Hold on to it for dear life and grow with that industry because technology is like vast. It's moving super quickly. I got a few individuals, few buddies actually that started AI companies um, that I've had the pleasure of helping them out with the marketing on that, obviously. But um, they are booming. These companies right now they are at their prime. Okay,
it was just impressive to me seeing a person that is not even 30 years old. There are people in the world that are 50, 60 years old that have never had $1 million in their life. This man is 29 years old doing this. I was like, dude, I would love to come work for you. This is like, I'm going to like a prodigy high school, just want to learn. And I was like, I just want to learn. And he's like, are you money hungry? I was like, no, I'm being honest with you now. It is hard to live, right? I told you we lived in an apartment. I was
yeah,
like, it's hard to live, but I'm not money hungry. I would rather learn.
yeah.
Because at the end of it, if you have a little bit of smartness, you can use that and turn something big for yourself. Learn that from the experience you got, you can turn into something else. And
It doesn't
you know,
require smartness, dude. I was even talking to a friend today. I was telling him like he was like, dude, you're so smart. You're doing all this. I was like, no, I'm not. Maybe I have a high IQ. Maybe I'm smarter than the average person, but I'm not fucking Albert Einstein smart. It doesn't. It's not rocket science what it does. You just need to be smart enough to understand that you're living in a fucking world that needs you to be a slave. Nothing more,
yeah,
nothing less.
yeah. Everyone says like there's the saying, work smart, not hard.
Yeah,
No, do both, bro.
yeah,
It's like there's no one or the other. Like
yeah.
that's not how it works. You know, it's just ridiculous when people say like, "I don't believe in luck." That personally, I really don't believe in luck.
It doesn't exist.
Right?
Manifestation exists though.
Manifestation does exist, but luck doesn't exist at
Absolutely.
all.
Yeah.
Luck is whatever y'all want to call luck. It's a combination of past skills that can be used together. Many different skills that can be used together to create something. That's what per se y'all can say luck. I just He worked his ass off trying to make a couple dollars at 7-Eleven and did all of that. And at the same time, now you can see the reward.
Yep, yep. And I'll let you finish your story. I just want to add one more point. Some of the craziest. I'm a very big people person. I'm a very respectful guy, and I know how to mimic and mirror somebody's energy to where they're very comfortable with me. I have, for example, Alex, one of my partners. Um, he is like super hyped all the time. Let's get it. Like he would walk into a room yelling at the top of his lungs, stupid random shit. So guess what I started doing? I started walking into the same exact room and doing the same exact thing that he did because that's what was gonna make him feel comfortable. And like people relations matter so much because as it's not even manipulation if you're gonna even consider it that, but being having the ability to understand people and be on their side is crucial because I can guarantee you that the individual who had that company that gave 50% of it to your friend, he had to act like him. He had to be like him at some point. So you had to see something in him. And in order for you to see somebody in somebody else, you have to see yourself in them, if that makes sense. So mirroring
And
is
that's
huge.
even in general about entrepreneurship. You have to learn your employees. And how are you going to learn your employees? By literally putting your energy, I wouldn't even say your physical self, putting your energy in them, like feel their energy first.
Every single time we ever done any sales training, I have a sales team. So every single time we've done any type of sales training, I would go in there during that training and I would take the calls myself. Our training session, it takes 20, 30 minutes to show them the system. It's super simple. It's not nothing too crazy. I would go in there, I'd be calling myself. And I would call the shitly the people who don't even the people who have told us to fuck off before. I would call them and be like, hey, listen, I just need to know what's going on. Hey, well, I would use the sales tactics that's needed at the time, but I would put like you cannot expect somebody to. You can't delegate a task that you can't do yourself. You can bring somebody who's better than you, that's going to do the task better than you, and lead the team wherever they need to be led. But you can't have somebody come in and do something that you can't do even a little bit. And if you can't do it, learn, figure it out.
There is the management part that comes into our roles technically too. Besides just putting yourself in that position so they can learn it, it goes a little bit more when you're an entrepreneur uh, than that. But I want to even go. This goes to the subject I want to talk to after this was the difference between an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. Not, I will say this very respectfully. This is just who I am,
Yeah,
and I talk very. Not everyone is going to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur.
absolutely.
It's not just about the risk you're putting out. I'm a very big introvert, but when I need to be, I will be an extrovert.
Yeah, my
It's
man.
about it's about balancing. It's about so much more when you're an entrepreneur than when you're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur knows how to run a business properly, and if they do it properly, right? The entrepreneur who financially risked everything they had is willing to give a percentage to the entrepreneur who's doing everything for their whole company.
Yeah,
Proper entrepreneur knows when to give. Don't get me wrong, we're selfish, but we give too. There's a switch. We give to the of our abilities, but at the same time, the business world is about survival. This, this is what I want to bring up. I was reading this actually today. 20.8% of private sector businesses in the US fail within the first year,
shit.
right?
Okay,
After 5 years, 48.4% of those that are left fail. After 10 years, 65.1% of businesses, of the amount that is left, fail.
that's a tiny, tiny number. You're supposed to. The reason why people build companies and sell them is because they don't want to deal with the ship falling. They say, as an entrepreneur, you're expected to be the captain of the ship. So then, if the ship ever sinks, you're supposed to sink with it. I say, never, ever, ever sink with the ship. If you have to jump ships, jump ships. Put yourself first. They tell you, what about the employees? Whatever these employees, whatever they can go find other jobs. There's a bazillion other companies that can take care of them. You help them out with the experience. You can refer to them to other companies, etc. Whatever. But if that ship is drowning, jump. Get the fuck out of there and start something new. That's all it takes. Yes, companies fail and they're supposed to fail at the very end. No company will never, like every single company will fail at some point. And here's the really smart thing. So Facebook, for example, like Facebook and Amazon, they have so many sectors that even if one fails, who cares? Who gives a fuck? So it's okay. Companies are supposed to fail, and when they do, get the fuck out. Jump. You don't stay there because you're gonna fail with it and you're gonna drown.
That's true. There's I was going to go into two things. Real estate, there's no failing in it. You just have to learn from a person that has experienced it, that you can fail sometimes in real estate, make a wrong purchase, but the real estate industry is one of the best industries to be in long term, no matter what. My software company could fail at any point, right? My buddies that has 70 hotels at the moment, I'll promise you, they will never fail. Almost over 80% of their assets are already paid off.
And do you want
There's
do you,
no.
do you want to know the second ones?
Go ahead.
The biggest we're talking about companies that are data companies. Facebook, Instagram, well, Facebook, Instagram is the same thing, but we're talking about Facebook, TikTok, all that. The companies that grab information from you, they don't give a damn what videos you're watching. They don't care. They care about, well, yeah, they do care about what videos you're watching, but they only care about retaining you to get as much information as possible because that information to some companies is invaluable. So really, really high end data companies. We're not talking about companies that scrape data from the internet. We're talking about the companies that actually own this data, intent based data, they call it. So um, on Facebook, if you're doing advertising, you can add interests. So you see, they literally tell you, they give you an audience of people who are interested in one thing from Facebook and Instagram. That's powerful ass data. You use that for advertising, you get business. So the really, really high end data companies have a very, I'm not gonna say they will never fail. They can get breached or whatever. They can get hacked, fucked up, whatever. But they have a very, very small chance of failing. And if they do, I'd be very surprised. But real estate is number one. I'll agree on
Yeah,
that.
real estate. It's just how it's, to me. This is what I love. It's so interesting to me on how a lot of people are not willing to be patient. Real estate is a long game, right? But when it hits the amount, when it hits a certain amount, you don't want to stop anymore.
Yeah.
It becomes a game for you. It becomes a play for you, and you keep going forward. You're making a lot of money. Just ridiculous. It's ridiculous how it works. This is why I want to get into it properly and learn it properly, right? I
Okay.
want to practice myself, like practice before I even actually buy the property or anything like that.
So would you not need a mentor? And what would, because I fully, anything that I do that I've never done before, I'm going to need a mentor. But the question is, how do you get that mentor without paying them money? What's their incentive, especially with real estate?
So there's two ways. If someone like, for example, like us, right? We instead of paying direct money to them, there are people that have really successful real estate companies that are willing to give you equity in their company for a certain price. And with that equity, you're making your money back, right? At the same time, you're learning. Or just do what I did. Go learn from YouTube. Go learn from YouTube. Go learn, market yourself. Go out and talk to people.
This is very interesting. So you're saying it's a smart idea to purchase equity in a business to learn about that business and then sell your equity when you need to.
It's a smart way.
That's a smart ass idea. Yeah, for sure.
Actually, I'm being very honest with you. There are companies right now from like at least my family friends and my personal friends. There are companies now that are literally grabbing. Maybe like one person has five companies that are just for real estate, right? They have a management, they have construction, they have this, they have that. They're combining all of their companies into one, right? But wouldn't that be kind of expensive to do
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah. So just grab a
Especially
little
on,
equity.
especially on the management section, especially on help. Now, people, right? If you're smart enough, you can give the other person the idea. Hey, I want to buy 1% of this. I'll put my work in. I just want to learn from you, and it's a little bit of money for you, so you can survive a little longer.
That's fire. So we this reminds me of something we so one of the companies that I have is a lead generation company. We specifically work with LinkedIn automation. So we would automate messages. We would basically get our clients through LinkedIn. So something that we did is a few of our clients wanted ads rather than only LinkedIn. They wanted social media. They wanted a bunch of shit that we just didn't provide. So we went to another agency that we knew could provide it, and we white labeled their services, and they became part of us. And we're doing the same. We're not doing anything. We're just doing the same exact work. But then the client trusts us more, especially the ones that stay. We don't approach them with, "Hey, we do everything." We approach them with, "Listen, here's what we specialize in." And then if they say, "Listen, I don't want LinkedIn automation. I want to do Google Ads." Cool. We'll get the Google Ads done for you as well. We can provide you that service, etc. We would upsell them. We would make profit, continuous profit monthly, and do absolutely no work on that client if they don't need any work to be done. So
That's the beauty of it. There's products out there, right? There's services out there that you may not have, but you can always Your profit margins may not be as high if you're just offering it personally, if you're using another service.
Yeah.
Profit is profit at the end of the day.
I don't mind my profit margins not being high if I'm not doing any work, personally.
Yeah,
Especially if
yeah,
it's reoccurring, that shit stacks up. It compounds.
yeah. This that's the beauty of it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
This is what I learned, right? You have maybe like, let's just say this: a person's making $12,000 a year. They're making $1,000 a month, right? You're making $1,000 a month. This is for just normal people, right? You're making $1,000 a month. Let's just say you put $100 of it aside a month.
Yeah.
And with $100, you buy a product that you can sell between $5 to $10 more. Leave enough money for your gas, right? Whatever money that is left, just add it to your monthly income. That $1,000 could be $1,010, and then that's where they call it the double game. That's where it starts adding up, slow by slow. You have to be patient with it.
Yeah.
Just do research about what you like. At the end of the day, if you can make $1, $2, $3, $5, $10 more, when you get to like $100,000, the percentage is still the same.
Yeah. It's at the very end. It's just grind, 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 grind. You have to be okay grinding and seeing either negative results, as in you're just investing money, because money invested is lessons learned. So either your negative results, you're breaking even. You're not making any results at all. You're making results here, but as far as your bank account, you're not making results. Okay. And you have to be okay working like a motherfucker, like a horse, and making absolutely zero profit, because it's gonna be one day where it's gonna seem like you're an overnight success. One day is all it takes. Okay. And you're gonna be that guy who was, oh, he worked for a little bit, super easy. I could show you how to do, whatever. Um, but you have to be okay working like a dog and making nothing.
This is what gets me. Like younger kids, when they see me, they're like, "Wow, you're so inspirational." Older men, they look at me and they're like, "You got it with luck." They weren't there when I was working 14 hours a day, over 14 hours a day. On weekends, I was working 19 hours a day, right? They weren't there when I was doing that for 6 months straight. And instead of we were in debt. My mom literally she had a car and something else for me to get a loan. She put that on the line. The only things we had, she put that she put that on the line so I can get a loan at 24% interest rate. Right?
Yeah.
No one sees just not just the financial risk, my time. Like the time, if this would have gone wrong, no one would have seen that time that I put in. 19, who wants to work 19 hours on the weekend when they're 17 years old? I was putting 19 hours a day on working on the weekend, and I would try my best to go to high school, to try to graduate, to do my homework, and at the same time work on this. And at the same time, find a little bit of time to hang out with my friends. No one is willing to do that.
People think that if it's too good to be true, then it is too good to be true. So they're gonna doubt everything you do and say, "Yo, I can show you how to make $50,000 in the next 2 months, in the next month, reoccurring $50,000, even if you have no experience." People are gonna be like, "Nah, you're lying. That's not true." I'm like, "Motherfucker, look around you. It's not the what's the one saying? Um, it's not the eyes that's blind, it's the heart. You just don't believe in yourself enough to even go through it. You see what you see. You just would rather not believe it because that makes you feel better about yourself."
And sacrifice, at the end of the day, sacrifice. You're not giving up anything but your time. Time is the most valuable thing you have in this world. It's not even money. It's not about items you have. The materialistic stuff that you have doesn't make who you are. And if you think that way, you're thinking totally wrong. It's about your good heart and how much time you're willing to spend to get to something. And there's no time limit. Don't I'm 20 years old. There's no time limit that you have to start right now. No, dude. Start when you think you're ready to give up your comfort, give up your spending habits, give up everything. that's when you're ready to start.
And another thing is people like they would work for 10, 15 hours a day and they would think it's a flex when in reality they're working towards the wrong thing. They're doing the wrong stuff. Like I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen people say, "I want to start a company. Let me build a website." No, you want to get your first sale before you even think about building a website. You want to. There's so many things that you should be doing that people are not prioritizing their time on. So leverage is huge to be able to leverage your network and the tools that you use and whatever to make you do things more efficiently. And speed is very essential. So you can't work 19 hours on something that has absolutely no ROI or has an ROI that'll compound over years because you're working on it now when you want results now. You don't want results only in 10 years from now.
Mine was I would call casinos, right? This wasn't even I wasn't even supposed to do this. There's communication systems that we use to communicate with them. Uh, I would call the casinos personally, and I would be like, "I need a person with buying power," and they would be like, "Hey, wait a couple of hours," and I would wait for a couple of hours. I put like at a point I had like six phones. I'll put one of them on mute. I'll call another person. I'll be like, "Hey, how
Fuck.
are you doing? Can I talk to a person with buying power?" They said, "Wait a couple hours." Mute again, again, again. Right? One of them, they hung up. I would get really mad, but then I was like, at the end of the day, they think it's business, and it is business. Don't use your emotions on this. You need to learn how to switch it off. Don't take it by heart.
I'm telling you,
You're
bro.
gonna get
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah.
It was just call. I would go to like I'll find international casinos. I would call them. They didn't even speak English, bro. I would call them. I was like, "Can I talk to someone who speaks English?" And they're looking at you like they're like they speak some language, and you're
Yeah.
like, "I don't understand this."
Fucking Google Translate that shit.
Yeah, that doesn't work properly either, bro. So I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Like you're thinking of it, and at the same, I had fun with it though. But this is one of my main things that I wanted to lead up to was a lot of people when they start they burn themselves. I surrounded myself with a couple good friends that it took me a while to understand what a good friend is, right? I surrounded myself with them, and every time I was feeling burnt out, they would see that I was feeling burnt out. They would try to get me out of that state by taking me out of out of my room. It wasn't even my house. Out of my room, they would. I'm being honest with you. I had my laptop like this in my hand, carrying me outside.
Yeah.
They're like, "Dude, when was the last time you saw the sun?" I was like, "Dude, I was in school like a couple hours ago." He's like, "No, you were inside. You didn't even see the sun. Come outside. Let's go play tennis.
Yeah.
Let's go play. Let's just go out for a little bit."
That reminds me
And
of my friends now, dude. It's insane. Go ahead.
yeah, you have to have, this is the part, you have to have a balance. You can't just work 24/7 and think, okay, I'm not going to get burned out from this. If you work 19 hours a day, that I wasn't doing constantly, I was only doing it on the weekend, and working 14 hours, right? And your sleep is like, your sleep at that time, I had really bad bags underneath my
Yeah, yeah.
eyes. Yeah, they would like, they would come and they would, no matter what I was doing, they would come get me and take me out. Because there's no way I would have kept my sanity if I worked that much, and I would have been burnt off, and I would have made any money.
Something that I really learned that I still to this day utilize very closely to me is working on two priority or doing two priorities at once. So for example, eating is a priority. How much hours out of my day does eating take? Hypothetically, and 1 hour. Cool. Get the food ready, get the book. I read for 30 minutes. Well, 15 to 30 minutes a day. Okay. Get the book out. Boom. As I'm reading, I'm eating. I'm doing two things at once right now. I'm checking off two things off my list at once. Okay. Then I go back, finish working, and then take whatever break I need to take. Go back, either read something, go back, either meditate, go do something that is coherent to my day that's not the same exact thing. If I'm a coder, I'm not gonna sit there for 19 hours and code. That's insane. Nobody can do that. So try to focus on different things at different times. Like I take calls between I want to say four and between 12 all the way to like four, for example. but I
I
prioritize.
do
Yeah,
until 12. I'm different. I like I'm a night owl kind of, you would say, but I wake up still at 5:30 every morning, uh, eat breakfast for 30 minutes, and then start working. And my thing is, I'm lucky with the industry I'm in. I can work from home. I can work from my laptop.
yeah. There you go. Yep.
The only bad part is you just have I have like three phones. One is like personal, and the other two are just business.
Okay.
Uh,
I haven't
for
reached that
me,
level yet.
you have to, even right now. I would say this. Even right now, this is like a brotherly recommendation. Separate business from personal. The sooner you do that, the less time consuming it will be for you to organize everything else throughout your day. It gets a lot busier, and at the same
Yep.
time, now you have structure to your what you're doing on your daily routine. It'll get a lot easier in your hands, right? That's what I love. I love like I I love the fact like when like people come up like my friends, right? With one of my friends right now, we're working on building a personal training like dietary program that we want to give out for like very small amount of money, right? We just not I wouldn't say for free, but we wanna like build custom like dietary plans for people, right? The thing is, that's not my business. That's his business. I'm putting a little bit of money and I'm marketing it myself by going out and talking to people at the gym, just getting to know people, right? I'm not directly telling them, hey, we're doing this. Hey, your physique is nice, you know? I will talk about like how I used to be super fat. Like I was like 28% body fat 2 years ago.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Uh, I was 203 pounds, I would say.
Damn. Okay.
So, like, I would just go talk to people, dude. People in this world, there's some people that are gonna hate you. There's some people that are gonna like you. There's some people that are neutral about you. Let's go talk. And at the end of it, like, I want my friends even to become successful because they were there. They were truly there for me when I needed it. My biggest part in life, from what I learned, was success is not defined by the money you have. Success is defined by the happiness that that freedom that you're chasing after brings you. That's true success. True success is defined by how you feel about yourself and how that feeling can be resembled in your daily life.
So here's my question. Um, After you met the 29-year-old friend that you have, um, how did you get started on his side? You said, "Let me work for you for free." What happened after?
So I said, let me work for you for free. He started me off with $15 an hour. And I was really grateful for that because now at this point, I can still save up a little bit of money and help my mom out, right? Because I had a $20,000 savings at that time, right? So I did that, and then he's like, "Okay." There came a point that I was like, "Hey, if there's anything else I can do that is not in company time, let me do it for you." I would go run checks for him to the bank. He would not pay me for it. I would do different stuff for him, different errands. I would go grab his clothes, give it to him without saying anything.
Okay.
I was his errand boy, technically. But I told him this when I started working for him. I was like, our end of the deal is I want to learn from you. I was like, I want to learn how everything, like, not it doesn't matter your business. I want to learn how to structure a business properly doesn't fail. Because again, I brought up those stats. A lot of companies, this crazy amount of companies that fail in 10 years. Everything can get taken away from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
This. So I was like, I just want to learn. And he was like, okay. He taught me. He was like, this is the management side. This is how you manage a company properly. You are the, but don't ever forget, you are their boss. You need to get your shit done.
That is huge. To have a mentor is possibly the best thing that you can do. And people go so wrong about it. They DM a guy, be like, "Can you mentor me for?" No, they don't care about mentoring you. Go and say, Let me do work for you for free. Let me learn. Now, can you mentor? What's in it for me? Hey, I just, the amount of DMs that I get of people saying, teach me how to do this. I'm okay being a great guy, but then if I give you some useful information, whether you do it or don't do it, I know you're going to come back. You're going to come back because I gave you value. So are you going to go to where the value is? But work for somebody for free, get your experience up, and learn from them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
learn how. It's not even learning about the job. It's about learning the structure. Learn the structure. Learn the pillars. You can't build a house without the pillars, without those big wires. You can't do it. Without cement, you can't do it. The whole thing is gonna fall. Learn the pillars. Learn how to communicate with people. Learn how to be like. If you show that you're happy as a person to another person, they're gonna feel your energy. It goes both ways. So learn who you are. Enjoy it. And but at the same time, don't ever forget. If you're a boss, if you're someone's boss, your employees are your friends, but at the end of the day, you're their boss. You have to get your shit done so that company can succeed, so those employees can make money and go home not empty-handed. Technically, you can't say empty-handed because you have to still pay them. But
Sometimes I've seen a lot of teams, a lot of sales teams that are, especially newer ones, that go straight off of fucking hopes and dreams. Their fire is hopes and dreams. They're just enthusiasm. Because I promise you, these employees would rather get a good job from you than an extra $200 a month. Like they don't say it. Obviously, they would appreciate the $200 a month, but they seek for validation. They will do more work when it comes to validation. I don't need some people's opinions sometimes. The guys, the people that work for me, I don't give sometimes I don't care about their opinions. But on the phone with them, they'd be working for me. And I'm like, so what do you think if we do this? What do you think? I don't give a shit. What do you think if we do this? They're gonna hate me for hearing this, and they're gonna be super happy. Yeah, here's the thing that we should do. And sometimes it's good. It's really good stuff. Like I use it seriously, and it works. It works. So the more valuable they feel, the longer they're gonna stay.
yeah, and even some people, like I personally, like from my own experience, some people you do hire bring in so much value to your business they don't even know, right? And I'm personally the type of person I would give to them. If they truly do deserve it and they don't even know that they deserve it, I'll give I'll give them a raise. I'll give them more percentage. I'll give them something to. It is a greedy world, but some people they just put their, like I've seen this at least with my employees. They put their head down and just work. They don't ask for anything. They say, "Hey, I have this problem, and I solved it by myself." Right? And I would be like, "How did you solve it?" And they'll give me an idea on how they solved it, and I'm like, "Who thought of that?" Like, damn. And I was like, "Okay, I learned something from you now. Let me reward you." And like, I would like, for example, I would take them out to dinners.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. Like you take them out to dinner. You're like, "Hey, come hang out with me for a
Bro,
whole day. Today it's off
one
day."
of the things for the top closers, at least in my team, um, we've implemented a system where they get bonuses, not money bonuses. They get some like the weirdest fucking shit, fucking vacation, you plus another person, exotic car rental for a day. Well, the weirdest fucking shit is on this, but they appreciate it. I mean, they really like it. Um, and yeah, you just have to like you got to understand how to be nice to them. You got to understand they're people at the end of the day. You got to treat them like people. They're not below you whatsoever. But in order for them to know the right path, they have to have somebody who's a leader and authority, but doesn't treat them as if they are slaves, for example.
Be their friend. Be their friend. Even if they not like you, be their friend. A lot of companies are going down because of poor management. If you haven't noticed, like, have you seen it? Like,
Yeah,
you ask the
yeah.
person, "Do you like your job?" "No, bro. I hate my job."
I hate
You
my
know?
manager. My manager is bro. Employees that hate their manager hate their job. It's as simple as that. My manager's a bitch whenever she comes in, bro. Why are you being an ass? Why are you being an entitled piece of shit to your employees? These guys are working for you. Without them, you're not shit. That's like that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
This what I like. I love that dynamic of like, okay, like for example, you're my friend. Like I feel like my employees are my friends, right? Hey, like today it's gonna be your off day. I'll work your hours, or I'll put it on one of my other like one of my other employees. Today, come with me. Let's go hang out. Let's go grab food.
Yeah, yeah. I've done that. I got a cigar for a couple of people. I would be like, yeah, let's go out for some fucking cigar. I'd get them a fucking cigar, and then we'd go drive out, get some fucking food, whatever. I did that last week actually with one of my guys.
This yeah, that's why I said like give back. Like at the end of the day, we're all humans. Have a kind heart, you know. But in business, you do have it's about a game of survival. Don't ever forget that. But be kind. You have to you have to learn who you are as a human before you get in any of these because you can fail a lot faster than you can succeed.
And Cheyenne, for the viewers, for the people who are watching, what are a few last things that you want to say to them to inspire them before we close this thing off?
From at least what you got from me, I hope y'all learned this that you have to be who you are as a person because in the business world, they will know what is a BS. They will know who's a BS. They will know who's fake and who's not. Be true to yourself. If you have a kind heart, have a kind heart. And it's a game of survival at the end of it. But if you have a kind heart, you give back to whoever had your back. It is a game of survival, but you have to give back because you get what you return. It's as simple as that. And don't always think about I want to make this much amount of money. Your happiness at the end of the day, for example, me going out with my friends, that's what truly makes me happy. For me to take my friends out, my personal friends out that have helped me, take my personal friends out and telling them buy whatever you would like at this restaurant. So give back to people that have had your back, even if that means people think it's always money. It's not. Spending your time, spending your time with your friends is one of the most valuable things you can have. It's memories created that money could never buy.
Absolutely. It's never about the money, bro. It's really never about the money. Money, I mean, like realistically, anybody in our place, if they put in the same amount of effort and the time that they put in, could possibly get to our place and where we're at, etc. But some people just don't value, which is okay. Some people just don't value money. I just want to be the reason to provide to everybody around me and ensure that like I'm so selfless that I don't want anybody else to have any other issues except for me.
Kind heart at the end of every business wins, and I promise you that. I've seen it. I've seen it. They win. They truly do win.
Absolutely. But Sharon, thank you so much for hopping on this podcast, bro. You're one of the most mature, most successful, probably the most mature and successful 20-year-old I've ever met in my life. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, dude. Some amazing, amazing stuff you said. Huge, huge value for whoever wants to follow Shannon on Instagram, even though he's not a flexer. He doesn't post too much about what he does. Too much. Sometimes he does. Link is in the description. Follow him on Instagram. Do what you got to do. And yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate